Thank you so much. This is a really good headline, I think. This is something that's close to my heart, at least. Doing things that are moving and cool. So, yeah. I'm kind of new here at 1337. I started in February. And been a developer since 98. Yeah, I'm that old. And it's kind of never gets boring. I've had the opportunity to test Java, .NET, and so on. Never boring. It sucks sometimes, of course, pretty often, but sometimes it's fun as well. And yeah. And my current assignment is at Smart, and there is a lot of fun with this team. I have that, and yeah, lives in Södermalm with my wife, Jenny, and our daughters Ella. It's a challenge that as well, and here you can see some of things I like to do. So, what is this talk about then? This is a story on how Vercel built an awesome registration page for Next.js conference. And Vercel is a company that's has a product. Next.js is built on React. I think most of us know what it is. And we will actually explore the journey they did, creating this final 3D scene that they did for this Next.js conference. But first, let's get some background on what React Free Fiber is. So, yeah, it's a React renderer for Free.js. We will talk about that as well. You build your scene declarative with reusable, self-contained components that react to state, are readable, interactive, and can participate in React ecosystem. It actually outperforms Free.js in scale due to React scheduling abilities. And what is free then? As you can see, it's a lot of things. It's built upon the web API, WebGL, and you can do a lot of things with this. And here, React Free Fiber comes in and simplifies this a lot, I would say. So let's have a look. What is this? Here you can see cubes rotating. It's pink. It's pink. You can click on it and it grows. It gets bigger. This is cool. Is this hard? It's not that much of code. You don't have to understand this. Just understand that it's 30, 40 lines of code. So it's actually not that hard to do cool things. I think this is quite cool. Another example, rotated. Again, it's rotating, but you have light. How is that code? It's even smaller. So this is actually where React Free Fiber is kind of strong. It comes with a package that simplifies. If you did this in Free.js, you have maybe 3 or 4 times more code. So yeah, it's a really convenient way of doing cool stuff. It's just React components. But then, back to the story. Vercel, they started to brainstorm the design they wanted to have in this kind of 3D scene for React conference they were going to host for a year ago. And they started to generating images with something we call DAL-E, or how it's pronounced. It's a service that generates images from text descriptions using GPT-3. And they were using ideas around 3D rendering, triangles, pyramids and so on, and beams of lights. And here you have images. And we started with this. Okay, this is cool, I think. Yeah. And they take that further down, and they wanted the experience to be interactive and accessible. I think that was the main goal they wanted to have. Okay, we started to thinking more about this, and what if a user could control a light source to reveal objects in the scene like a light beam does? And what if the light bounced off other objects, hit a prism, and created a gorgeous rainbow? That was actually what we thought about. So we started to create a mood board for the rainbow. We discussed how the beauty of a rainbow and how it expresses everything that light is capable of in the visible spectrum. Okay, how do you do something about this? How do you approach this? Okay, so we want to put together a prototype using the following tech. Of course, free fiber, otherwise it wasn't here in this example. And we actually have an engineer, Paul Henschel, or how it's pronounced. He's a lead maintainer for this free fiber. And of course, there is a library called Dray. It's a kitchen sink library, convenient helpers letting the community around Free.js share common patterns and solutions to everyone to use with React.js. So this was the main starting package they want to use. So they put the prototype together, and let's see what they came out with. Let's call it the beam. Okay, we have our cubes and triangle, and you have a beam, a light source bouncing off. This is quite, I would say, very cool. If I manage to get this far, I will be happy, and yeah, this is really awesome, I think. So let's continue. The rainbow they were talking about, we thought, okay, how to produce a rainbow that's going to be awesome. And they went out to Shaded Toy. Shaded Toy is a place that you can pick nice shaders. I'm not going to explain what shaders are. It's too complicated, even for me. But they went out to Shaded Toy and find two awesome shaders that we want to combine to one. And I will quickly show you those, so you know what I'm talking about. This is a color shader. It's perfect for a rainbow. And they used even this thing here. Okay. So we combined them together, and they got the rainbow. Let's see if we can go back to the rainbow. Rainbow. Okay. So we have a rainbow. Awesome, I think. Should we wait for it to spin 300 degrees? Yeah, it's awesome. And actually now we have quite a bit pieces to put together. But for a Free.js project, you need to do some post-processing. It's a must because, yeah, it's a lot of things that happens, and you need to do it in a smooth way and add filters and so on. So they actually added React post-processing is a library that you can bind filters. And they actually do use screen space reflection as well. It's packages that you can use that are there, but you need to know how to use them. But of course, they know. So all together now, we have a ray of light. I have objects to bounce it off and a prism and a rainbow. So it's time to put everything together. We did some last finishing up touches. The weld model from Dre again. Dre, I will come back to that in a minute. How they contribute to that, yeah. Should we see the final piece? Here you have it. So this is actually, I think it's a dream come true if I would be able to do things like this. It's really, really awesome. And actually how you can pull this together with the idea that I had from the beginning. And yeah, it's really, really awesome. And the final conference page after, it's a year ago we had that. We have changed it a bit since then. It's live, you can look at it and it looks like this. So it's a really, really nice way of doing. But is this actually easy for a low-end device to look at? You know, it's quite much a lot of effects. I have a Mac Pro M1 or something. It performs really, really good at my. So we have to talk about performance. So one usual approach for handling device performance in WebGL is to watch the GPU utilization. But they thought that would be, it's not that nice, and they are quite good developers. So they thought, why not check on the final result of a rendered application and address what our users are actually seeing and fix that while it's rendering. Very crazy. So Dre, the package I mentioned that you can have pull in things that the community shares and so on, they build something called Performance Monitor. A component that watches the frames per second and of a renderer to see if it's performing within a developer-defined acceptable range that you define by yourself. So if it drops too low, it can be made to ease up a bit. So yeah, it performs equal good as at a low-end device, at a high-end device. So they actually did that, and just want to, it's not that much of code they did, so here's the thing, the concept they use Performance Monitor. Every React developer, I think you can understand this kind of code. But it was kind of brilliant that we did that, and actually contribute to the Dre package. And Vercel is not alone doing this kind of stuff. Storybook launched, had a Storybook Day conference in this March. And they actually did the same. They did a React-free fiber scene. So I've seen this a lot. More and more companies are doing it. It's kind of subtle, you can't see, but you can see it moving a bit at least. So they did the same story, and they have wrote an article about this as well. And they're actually more. We have Supabase. I think some of you know what Supabase is. It's a kind of Firebase alternative. I won't go into detail, but they have release weeks. And they did as well a React-free fiber. for their release week. It's actually now in August. And they actually did more than that. You can play around with it if you like. And so on. So then again, it's React Free Fiber. They want to do something to show off a release, or yeah, it's kind of common. But can you do more with it? Is it useful for you in your daily work, at your client, and so on? And I, for myself, actually have a good example because I've been worked with WebGL by myself at my former company. And I actually thought it was a good idea to show that. I don't have access to it anymore. We built a bathroom configurator, MVP, for a company. And I actually asked them if that's okay if I show them to them. If I had a picture they can send me, but they didn't. And I actually remember that with an early release, alpha release, I did record a small video before a demo sprint, because I usually do that when having a demo. And I found that on my old computer. So I will actually show you what I did. It's about a minute long, this video, and you can get the idea how useful it can be. So this is actually a product I built, and it's in early alpha stage, and it's in Swedish, unfortunately, but bear with me, you can understand it anyway. So you have to have patience. This was recorded a long time ago, of course. It's almost 2 years ago or something, 1.5. And here you have the 3D scene to see at the right side of the page. And you can see, yeah, it was not optimized in any way. It was quite early at stage, but it was really, really awesome. I found this is probably the most fun project I've been involved with. I'm not a designer of bathroom, I would say. But you get the pictures. I hope no one will build a bathroom like that. Yeah, and yeah, that's about how I built it. It was quite useful. But if you don't have a client project, or you just want to play around with it, you can just do Star Wars things. It's much nicer, in my opinion. Yeah, and the key takeaway, I would say, that you as a React developer can do this too, because it's just React components. Believe me, try it, you will love it. Thank you. I have no idea of the time here, but...
I mean, right on time.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. It's like you planned it.
Yeah. I did.
Okay, thank you so much, Jimmie. Really cool.
Yeah.
Never seen that before. But that does sound like a very fun project.
Yeah, it was.
Does anybody else have experience using this? A little bit here, a little bit? Okay. So now we're going to open for questions. We have about 10 minutes for questions. So does anybody want to kick us off for anything to ask Jimmie? I see a hand over there.
No hard questions, please.
Hello. Yeah, I'm just wondering how it performs on mobile. 3GS, it was a while I was working with it, and then it didn't so well.
Yeah, I would say it depends on several things. As you could see in this bathroom configurator, we had a lot of textures, and they can be quite big and hard to render, so you may have to wash them, take away a lot of things from them, and then it's going to be easier for a mobile to render them. And as I said, the performance monitor that Vercel built can be a thing that you can adjust the rendering part, so it will perform better on lower-end devices, mobile and so on. But yeah, it probably not the best for mobiles. If you have a latest iPhone, no problem. But if you have an old Samsung, no, maybe not. Yeah, it has everything you can build. I would say everything that you want to build, you can build.
My question kind of builds on the previous one, and like I always thought, like, what about lazy loading? Could you do some kind of lazy loading with this?
Yeah, there are a lot of options to do that. So you can. I've seen how some of advanced 3D scenes I've seen, they are picking in stuff all the time, and yeah, you can do that. But initially, you have a big load. It depends on what you're presenting, of course. If you have a lot of textures, and but yeah, you can do that.
Thanks.
Thank you for the presentation. I can share that I have a huge respect for people who bring this, I think, two worlds together. You know, the one thing is to be front-end developer, but to make this kind of experience, you need to understand some things about programming graphics and shaders, meshes, post-processing. You know, I was wondering, how would you describe the journey for the person, for a front-end developer who want to make this kind of experience? What should one learn? How does one start this kind of journey?
As my point of view, it's a two-way of learning. Learning React Fiber and getting some rotating cubes and so on is a good starting point. But I believe when you're going to go more advanced, there are a lot of math, there are a lot of calculation that you need, but you can just steal them from the internet. So there are a lot of tutorials on this. I've been using YouTube tutorials, and I'm not that advanced developer. When I did this bathroom configurator, I got help from a 3D company with just the 3D things and how to do stuff. But yeah, it's a learning curve, and it depends on advanced things you want to do. It takes some time, but if you have the interest, you're going to learn. Is that answer?
I just afraid of the sheer size of this space, how much one needs to learn to be good at it.
Yeah. Just using FreeJS is a bit cumbersome. It's a lot of code to write. But using React Fiber that outperforms FreeJS as well, you can actually achieve a lot more things that you could do in FreeJS in an easier way. So start with React Fiber and not FreeJS. It is my... yeah, I will do that.
Yeah, one of the questions I had was, is the process of building these kinds of animations in this tool set, is this mutually exclusive with, say, assets that might be built with classical tools like, say, Blender, for example? Or, like, can for example, animations, graphics, etc., can they be pulled from those kinds of programs into this, or do they have to be separately built within React Fiber?
So you're wondering if I can combine Blender and these kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. And how you do it, I don't know, but I know a lot of things are built in another program and take it into, you have the shaders and you have the textures and you're creating meshes and it's a lot of things, but how a real professional do it, I don't know, but I think they are using several tools to, in the end, to build stuff. It's an advanced topic, and I'm kind of learning when I have the time. So I really don't know exactly how professionals are doing it.
Super interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jimmie. I have a question about the shaders. Since they are running on the GPU rather than the CPU, do you still write the code for them in JavaScript, or do you need to like write them in C or anything like that?
You could probably do that. I don't know. For my things, what I have done, I just go out to the community and pick them and just combine them with the tools I have in Dray and Rect3 Fiber. But how they are built from the ground, I haven't done that by myself. So.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know nothing about this, so forgive me if this is a bad question. But we were talking about like levels before and asking like that there is quite a span of how deep you can get into this. When you were doing the project with your prior company, like, I mean, was that more of a expert level or more somewhere in between?
I would say I didn't know anything about this before. So we have a design. We had a 3D they were specialized in 3D things, virtual. That was lucky for me. So just dig into it, and it was not that hard to solve it in the end. There were other challenging things, getting a toilet from a company that they manufacture toilets, and they have this kind of files for the toilet, and they were actually quite big. That was a bigger challenge, to wash out the unnecessary things in that file and present it. So, yeah.
Yes, I was thinking using this technology, where would you see are the best business applications? You were working on like a bathroom configurator, but what sort of business domains is this usable?
Ask the clients, I don't know, but
too easy.
But I don't know how they do it as IKEA. We have a lot of consultants at IKEA, and we have a kitchen planner and chicken planner. Probably that as well, but I don't know. But what technique are they using? That would be interesting to know. And cars are doing it.
Jimmie,
Yeah.
this is the next stage for the visualizer app, for the smart car.
Yeah. We are building a visualizer in smart cars, and from the moment it's only videos, but maybe I will put in some 3D scenes. Yeah, just joking.
Alrighty, let's give Jimmie one more round of applause.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmie. Good job.